It's the Los Angeles Kings visiting the Edmonton Oilers, round one, game one of their best-of-7 matchup. Gentlemen, our coverage here on the fourth period brought to you by BitBuy. Use referral code TFP to get up to $50 in free crypto while terms and conditions apply. DB, I know you'll be in Edmonton covering this series on both ends in both cities, so I want to start with you. We saw what Phillip Danault did for the Montreal Canadiens last season and in the playoffs. Is he going to be an X factor for you when you look at him in this series?
He has to be. And for this Kings team, it's been 1,476 days between playoff games, guys. So this is a game 4 years in the making and a series 30 years in the making. The Oilers and the Kings haven't played in 30 years in the postseason. Yes, Phillip Danault and Andre Kopitar. That's the battle in this series, right? Kopitar and Danault against Connor and Leon. Phil has to provide the same type of leadership, scoring, and defensive play in this series for them to win. So yes, absolutely an X factor. He was voted by the media here in Los Angeles as MVP of the team this year, Phillip Danault. He's going to have to continue that play once we get to game 83 on Monday night.
Yeah, without question, guys. Don't forget, there's no Drew Doughty for the LA Kings. So it's that much more important for Kopitar and Danault to do what they can to help shut down the opposition. And let's also not forget that Phillip Danault, in the past couple of seasons prior to this one, helped shut down Sidney Crosby. He helped shut down the Leafs, the Jets, the Knights. He just ran out of gas against Tampa with all their talent. I mean, this is a guy that is a big contributor defensively and from a faceoff perspective as well. So I certainly think that this is going to be a huge element to this series and how both of these players can contain the top two lines, or at least help contain the top two lines for this team. The other element for me in this one is goaltending. Jonathan Quick has played a lot better in the going down into the stretch for Los Angeles. And Mike Smith has been fantastic as well. But can he keep it up? Mike Smith has a tendency of going through those up and down roller coaster rides. And if he's on the downswing of one right now, that is big trouble for the Edmonton Oilers. But so far, benefit of the doubt, he's been solid, and so have the Oilers.
Well, we talk so much when you look at this series about Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, two of the best players in the National Hockey League. But Dennis, when I look at this LA Kings team, especially defensively with their young defense, how are they going to cope with those two, or at least trying to limit their two scoring opportunities?
Well, what they can't do, Irf, is take a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
And actually draw a lot of penalties because both their special teams are in the 20s when it comes to ranking. So that's the issue. That's the challenge with respect to Connor and Leon. Don't go in the box. If you're going to take a penalty, make sure it prevents a scoring chance. There is a lot of inexperience on this team on the blue line. You mentioned Drew Doughty not being in the lineup. That's an obvious big hole that's been created. But this team, if they play to their system and they check, and when they're tired of checking, they check some more. That's their opportunity to win. But it's got to be low-scoring games. And yeah, you're right, Irf. Like some of these kids like Jordan Spence and Sean Dursley, their first drink of the Stanley Cup playoff, and facing this team, this powerful offensive team, it's going to be a challenge. But if they play to their system and Quick outplays Mike Smith, I think there's an opportunity and a chance for LA to emerge from this series victorious.
Dave, final one for me for you. How much pressure is on this Edmonton Oilers team? I feel like the Kings are playing with house money here. So how much pressure is on this Oilers team?
Yeah, I think they're playing with house money and the extra motivator, and this being the final run for Dustin Brown. Look, I think all the pressure in the world is on the Edmonton Oilers, no question, to get out of the first round, to beat up on LA, to prove that they belong and end up in the second round, and so on and so on. Plus, there's the other element of you got to win with 97-29. I think there's a lot of pressure, certainly more, tons more than on the Los Angeles Kings. They're a development team. A lot of their younger kids are gaining experience. Like Dennis said, they're getting a taste and a sip of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But Edmonton right now, certainly without question, based on some of the moves that they made, the addition of Evander Kane midseason, Zach Hyman in the offseason, standing pat with their goaltending, there's a lot riding on this series for Edmonton. And I think it's going to be a little tighter than most people, I guess, anticipate.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for this. Again, round one, game one between the Oilers and the LA Kings goes a little bit later on this evening.